So 2019, I got to take my hand-built NAS charger to SEMA, yeah? Most people only dream to attend SEMA, let alone take a car there, right? People like Tavares, them kind of people, they've built an amazing fan base which allows them to go and get sponsors, right? 2015, I went out there with a guy called Slick and I learned how to schmooze and talk to people and be polite, and if it's raining, you need to run back to that vendor and put all their stuff away because no one else is going to do it because they're having a beer. Well, that was one way of me getting my foot in the door at SEMA, okay? So when Arc Audio phoned me in, Pipes Exhaust, and said, look, do you want to build a car? I had this idea of saying, in the future, I'd build something, you know, maybe a rat rod or something like that. And when the NAS charger turned up, and it was a hydraulic rammed Dodge Charger that did a spoof wheelie and threw smoke out, and it was an absolute clown car. It was awful, you know. When I built that car and I drove it to SEMA, I never imagined I'd bump into people like Tavares and the Daily Driven Exotic guys. And I turned up at the SLS, which the amazing guys at Motor Oil gave me a hotel room. Just because I was raising money for charity, they gave me a hotel room. I turned up and the Lamborghini Murcielago from Fast and the Furious and this bright green Supra was parked out the front, right? And I said to the guy, I said, oh, can I park my Dodge Charger next to the Lamborghini from Fast and the Furious? He was like, yeah, but you have to make it worth my while. So I gave the guy $50, thinking like that was good money. Like, I'm hard up, like $50, that's like 2 rounds of beer, you know? So I gave him, and he was like, turned his nose up. And then he saw me turn around and back the NAS charger in and was like, wow, you know? Waited outside 15, 20 minutes, Tavares comes out, a couple of photo opportunities, got to know him, got featured in a Daily Driven Exotics video, which is kind of cool. I've only ever seen him on YouTube. And the relationship with Tavares, just shook his hand, said hi, honoured to meet you, very proud of what you're doing, very proud of what you've done with the Lambo. That car was a piece of junk, and now it's saved, you know? And he said, oh, there's a car in England I want to look at. I said, cool, send me the details. Didn't expect 3 months later for him to actually get in contact with me and ask me to go and have a look. And let's just say I turned up to probably one of the scariest places I've ever been in London, okay? You have areas in London that are big high-rise flats, which are very dangerous, they call them subways in England, where, if there's a road going over, you go under the road in like a subway, and they're all graffitied, and lots of lads like to hang out in them. They're quite scary because it's all graffitied up, and it's dark and dingy, and it's quite a vulnerable area. Well, I turned up in London to a gangster movie, quite literally a gangster movie. There's lots of Asian men stood around by their cars, like looking at me on their hats, like Indian people, white people, just a very scary area to be in. Turned up in a brand new recovery truck because I borrowed it, right? And I was so scared because I'm on my own. I'm not afraid of anything. You turn up, you make opportunities yourself by being there. I turned up and these guys like, what do you want? I said, I'll come to look at a Lamborghini. And mate, no Lambos around here, mate. Do one, in a lot less polite words, shall we say. And I waited around. And I kept going through this horrible estate, and there's like gypsies with caravans and dogs running around. Like, it was quite literally like a movie set. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I parked my truck up, and I'm just worried because it's a rental. I'm worried it's going to get wrecked or vandalised or stolen. And I find this little body shop, and I go in through the door, and it's like an old milk factory or something like that, like old sort of lean-to, like an old farm building. And I said, oh, hi, I'm a friend of Tavares. And I come to look at a Lambo. Yeah, you're supposed to be here 2 days ago. I said, no, today's the whatever day it was, I'm here. Remember, he's on the phone, he's swearing, shouting down the phone, like it's a scary environment. The place is dark and dingy. They've got lights that are hanging from the roof that have been bungee corded up. It's just scary. But in the corner, right, is the diamond in the rough. We've got a Lamborghini Murcielago covered in dust. And I mean, like when you detail a car or you polish a car, you get dust, right? Polish or whatever. Cars have been painted over and over and over in the course of probably a year or two since the Fast and the Furious live production, which the car was used in. And it was manipulated in such a way that they took all the Lamborghini gear out and put a Jaguar V6 in it, okay? Then that's how I ended up with all the Lamborghini running gear, which later on, ended up with Ed. But this car was used as a tool bench. There was toys and banners and wheels left against it, bonnets left it up against it, the windscreen was smashed. I took all these videos and it was just, an appalling. It looked like it had no way out, There was no way of pulling that car back, And I sent it to Tavares and he was like, oh my God, that's horrendous, isn't it? I said, yeah. I said, it is what it is, mate. I said, the windscreen's cracked. The doors are hanging off it. I opened the door and the door nearly fell off in my hand. Like, it was just completely ruined. What it boils down to here, right, is me and Tavares together found one of the only 2 Lamborghini Murcielagos used in the Fast and the Furious filming, you know? One of the 2 that are left, shall we say. You know, everyone looks at it and goes, hey, it's a Fast and Furious live production car, it's not a real car. But that's the only reason that I managed to buy the running gear for this car, because it was all ripped out. This was a real movie used car from Fast and the Furious, right? Where Roman Pierce goes, I want the orange one, right? It came to the UK because it was one of the only affordable Lamborghini Murcielagos, because you don't want to cut up a real Murcielago to use in a production of a show, right? And it's a big part, you know, everyone knows Roman Pierce's character, and if it's big and orange and you mention Fast and Furious, you know it's the Murcielago. So they purchased it from Universal Studios or Dennis McCarthy or someone and got the real car. They basically sent it to a man called Harry Hockley in Wales, who was a race car builder. And his idea was to put a Ford Cosworth engine and gearbox in it, and it just didn't work. The body was too heavy, they stripped it all out, and in the end it had a Jaguar V6 in it, a lot more powerful, rear-wheel drive, still the same setup it would have normally had with the Lamborghini running gear, but now completely cut out and kind of ruined a lot. I mean, there's no finesse taken, by the way, when they cut all the engine out and the engine mounts, it was just butchered. And they welded engine mounts in, put the Jaguar engine in, because it's easy to repair. I didn't hear anything back from Tavares for 2 years. 2 years. I got a message and he said, hey, the guy that owned that Lambo has had it all resprayed and apparently it looks amazing. And I think this guy's opinion of amazing and my opinion of amazing, we're on different levels, okay? So my Lamborghini, which was painted in 7 days, had better paint. Like, I'm just saying. And it's no dig to the guys that did it. They probably did it on a budget, in poor conditions, dust in the air, you know, runs everywhere. They had no oven. They did their best. And you know what? It looked a million times better than it did when I saw it. You know, it was bright orange, it was leery, it was cool, but it was silly things like the rear louver air vents that would lift up at the rear were bolted down shut and like welded closed. You know, the windscreen was broken in 3 places. You open the door, it tries to fall off in your hand. But it ran and it drove. And it had a Toyota key. You pressed the button, held it down, and this little blue light on the dash that looked like something you buy off like Wish for like $3, like lit up in blue, and you held it, digga, boom, and it started up. You had to do it like 10 times to get it to run, but it ran. You know what? It was cool. It was everything a movie's about. It looks the part, 20 feet, it looks like a Lamborghini Murcielago, and it is. You know, to all people out there, it's got a Lambo VIN, it's a Lambo body, it's got a Jag engine, it looks cool. It is what it is. So he said, hey man, the guy's painted the car. Can you go and try and put the deal together? I said, no worries. So I said, what have you done? He said, well, I sent him a deposit. Easy, no worries. And I said, what's happening? We agreed on a price. And I said, look, I'll go get it. So at the time, my recovery truck was broken. So I took my 1998 Ford Explorer Jurassic Park car, which there's a couple of cars in my life I'm not allowed to sell, and it's my Knight Rider car and my Jurassic Park car. My kids and my life, they don't want me to sell something, I'm not going to sell it. So I loaded my $1,500 trailer on the back of my $2,000 Jurassic Park car, and I headed for London, headed for the Bronx, right? I was ready for it. I actually turned up, really nice area, the guy had a lovely house, and it was parked on the drive. Well, I was going through the box of parts, and we've got fully LP640, I think they're called, carbon fiber door cards. They're like beautifully crafted in the box. We've got door cover speakers in carbon fiber. We've got like these little washer jets that Tavares and everyone was telling me are like $1,000. They like the front of the headlights, they lift up and, you know, clean the headlights. There was like boxes of them, parts galore, like you would not believe, like brand new parts as well. And I'm with Scott from Ratarossa because I said, look, can you help me go through the car, make sure everything's right? Because he's got a good idea of supercars. And we're going through the car and Scott's like, mate, just these parts alone are worth like $50,000, $60,000. Like these door cards, look on them, they're eBay, they're 20 grand. You know, they're fully carbon fiber, formed in perfection. They're amazing. He said, you've got the holy grail just in parts. Next morning, I get a text. Gentleman saying, I want to keep the car. I'm not getting rid of the Lambo. I'm like, cool. A couple of things are going to happen, buddy. My time is not free. You owe me $2,500 for my day. I went up there, I rented a trailer. I was paid $500 for my staff to run my business. plus fuel, and I had a driver as well because I don't have a trailer license in the UK. And I went, so you owe me like $5,000. I said, plus, you do understand that Tavares is the only man that is sane enough to buy this box of shit because every part of it is bad. Okay? The engine is Jaguar, therefore it's never going to run any good for its whole life, okay? The bodywork is poor, cracked, distorted, damaged, and hanging off. The paintwork has got more drips than Banksy is thrown on the walls. It is quite literally horrendous. But I'm just telling you, this car needs to go to Tavares. She's like, look, I'm not selling the car, no worries. So I phoned Tavares, she's like, oh my God, I've lost $45,000. I said, mate, I've got $60,000 worth of parts in my Jurassic Park Explorer. You got nothing to worry about. He said, I can't believe I've lost that money. I said, lost what money? I said, I'm really sorry you've lost your deposit. And he went, you didn't pay for the car? I said, mate, when I'm on someone else's time with someone else's money, I'm there to pay for the car. I'm not there paying for the parts. The parts are a bonus, right? So I've taken the parts with me. A brand new Murcielago windscreen in a box. That's got to be $5,000. I don't know, but you know, I've got a brand new Lamborghini windscreen, right? Taking everything. And Tavares is like, you didn't pay him? I was like, why would I pay him for a car that I don't have? It's your money. I'm not going to risk your money for a car that I haven't been able to produce. He's like, I've never met anyone like you. Like, you know, he couldn't believe it. In an hour went by, the guy phoned me and said, come and get the car. I sent a recovery truck. The car was on the back. I wired him the $40,000 because I was the middleman, you know. He sent me the money. He didn't want to wire the guy directly for this exact reason, right? I then wired him the money, phoned Tavares. I was like, hey, your car's at the port. He's like, what? The car's at Southampton Port with all your parts. You're good. Are you serious? I said, yeah, it's all done. You didn't lose a penny. It's good. What owe you? I said, you owe me £180 for my mum and dad to work, cover the shift. You owe me £65 for fuel and £50 for my buddy who drove with me to go get the car. That's it. He said, oh, come on, I must owe you some money for doing it. I was like, friendship's more important, man. Money's printed every day, you know? I said, like, that is what it stands for. I've got someone else's money on the line. I'm not going to risk anything.
Premier Financial Services makes it easier and more affordable than you could possibly imagine to own your dream car. Their Simple Lease is one of the most powerful tools in the world of exotic car financing. You get all the benefits like the tax savings and the low payments of a lease with all the additional benefits that you normally find in a traditional finance arrangement. You can build up equity, you can pay it off early, you can trade in and out of cars because you get a very clear and easy to understand amortization table to understand what your payoff will be any month throughout your term. And all the while, the amazing team from Premier Financial Services will be right there to help you along the way. They've been supporters of the VINwiki channel now for 5 years in a row, so we can't thank them enough for that, but mostly we're thankful for the fact that they can help you make it easier than ever to own your dream car. Check them out now.